Hello, you are watching my YouTube channel. I'm your host, kamranarshad. Today, I've invited a guest to my vlog, and I'm going to discuss her life, her visions, her goals, and most importantly, her fate. Good afternoon, and welcome to our program. Today, we are delighted to have with us Gloria Attah, a prominent news anchor and reporter from Nigeria. Gloria, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Kamran, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, Gloria, first of all, tell us about yourself. Who are you actually, and where are you from? And why you have chosen journalistic profession for you? Because you are a female, you can choose another profession because there are a lot of professions for the females like modeling, acting, architecture, calligraphy, and all that. And you have
Mhm.
chosen journalistic profession. Why?
Okay. Journalism generally is a profession that is driven by passion.
Mm,
First of all, if it's not something you're passionate about, just like you said, there are so many other options, especially as a female, so many options that are less demanding
mm,
and less challenging. Well, I'll start by introducing myself. My name is
mm,
Gloria Attah. I
mm,
am from Nigeria and I'm a young journalist. I would say for me, I chose the path to practice journalism because I've been passionate about it right from my childhood days. I could recall vividly how I would watch television, I would read newspapers, and I'll tell myself, I want to do this someday. I believe so much in, making impact and, amplifying the voices of people around you, the vulnerable, children, women, even men as well. I just believe
mm,
in helping to give people a voice, help people be seen, help
mm,
people become heard.
mm,
And those were the things that, have been, or these are the things that have been a driving force for me in this
mm,
profession.
mm.
Yeah.
Gloria, how long have you been doing in this profession, and any memorable moment? Can you share any story with us so far in your
Yes.
life? Then we will
Well,
definitely look
I've been
into those questions.
all right. Well, I've been doing this for officially, I've been doing this for over 2 years now. Like I said, I'm still a newbie in the industry. I'm a young journalist.
Mm,
And there are a lot of memorable moments. I would
mm,
always tell people that one of the most exciting things, or one of the
mm,
things I love about my job, is that I get to walk in different shoes
mm,
every day.
mm,
So today I might be in, you know, I might be on a motorcycle entering one village somewhere that I don't know, meeting strangers and
mm,
just having a bit of fear.
mm,
And another day, I'm in this very beautiful hall with
mm,
top government personalities or top
mm,
government officials, and we're talking about the
mm,
budget, or we're talking about, key issues, reforms, and
mm,
all of that. So that is the high point for me as a journalist, the fact that I can get to experience different people's lives
mm,
in myself. I don't know
mm,
if it makes sense, but that is what I find really, really exciting. Like because I do a lot of work on women
mm,
and children. So
mm,
there are certain times where I have to go to rural areas to carry out certain reports.
mm,
And I get to see life differently from what I know. And
mm,
then on several other occasions, I get to meet, it's just a blend of different experiences. You
mm,
meet the good, the bad, the
mm,
ugly, and everything just
mm.
sums up together to give you a
Every day is a
beautiful
new day, and
experience.
every day
That
has
is
given
the
us
high
new
point for
challenge
me.
for us, right?
Yes, yes.
That's great. That's great. Okay, Gloria, how do you ensure accuracy and credibility in your reporting as a news anchor and reporter, particularly in today's era of rapid information dissemination and potential misinformation? So, how do you balance?
Okay. Well, I quite agree with you, just as you said. This is the information age where technology is evolving really, really fast. So it gets really, really difficult. But personally, what I do is being a young professional, I
Mm,
have I have people who I look up to. You understand? I have even media outlets I look up to. So, for example, if I come across a story or I come across a video online, first thing I usually do is I check other media outlets within the country to see if they've taken those stories. That is one of the things I do.
You're talking
And
about
then,
the authenticity of the news we are getting, that it is authentic or
yes,
not. Okay, that's great. This is a
yes,
good thing in
yes.
you.
Yes, so that is one of the things I get to do. And if these stories have not, probably, those stories have not been published by any of these media outlets, and it's a very good story or it's something, very, very newsworthy, I try to check my source. So if, let's say, for example, on social media, let's use Facebook, for instance, and then a Facebook user drops a video and says something is happening at, a certain location. First of all, I try to check that person, my source. I check out their profile to even, kind of verify the kind of person they are, to know if this person has a track record of uploading this kind of content. And then from the way the write-up is, if it is written, I try to check undertones to see if there are undertones of maybe sensationalism or subjectivity in that report. And if the person is just putting it to inform, I put all those things in check. And I try to see also if that source is maybe an expert in that field. Let's say maybe it's news about security, or it's something, if it's security and a security expert is putting out
News
an
from
information, you
religious
understand?
affairs, political affairs, security affairs. So that
Yes,
definitely we
yes,
have to.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and then when I see those contents, if I'm convinced, then I reach out to them. If they have a phone number or there's a means to reach out to them, then I reach out to them to actually make contact with them. Okay, this is what you just posted, or this is what you just put out, this is what you're saying. How can I verify that this is what you're saying is true? And then, of course, most of the time they'll send you more evidence, they could send you more videos, or they could send you a live video or something. So those are the things I used to verify. But then if I don't have a means of reaching out to them directly, what I do sometimes is I check online for some of these apps that you can use to verify the authenticity or accuracy of the video. Because, in this era, just like you said, where we have a lot of misinformation, sometimes people put out videos that are over a year old, they put out old videos to try and just mislead the public. So sometimes I use those tools online to just check out to see how to check the authenticity and how accurate those videos are.
That's great.
Yeah.
Gloria, but bad thing is that most of the journalists are gonna rely on social media news. Either they don't know it is a fake news or a not, because we use social media for entertainment, right? If someone posts a status
Yes.
about anything, they seem to be that this is the news. Then they portray that we got a news, and there is a misinformation they are spreading from social media as well. So, do you think that how can we make a balance between the news or a fake news?
Well, for me as a journalist, what differentiates me is that I'm supposed to have, a wide range of contacts. So most times when I come across an information on social media, I have a lot of friends who are in the profession, who work with different other media houses
Like
within
me,
the state
I'm from
where I
Pakistan. I'm
reside
also,
and even outside.
yeah, okay,
Yes. So if I see something from Pakistan, instead
yeah,
of just rushing to break the news for my own media house, I would reach out
yeah,
to you, Kamran. This is what I'm seeing. What do you think? Have you gone there? Have you heard of this? If you tell me yes,
yeah.
you've heard of it. Have you gone there? Can
Definitely, there
you
is a
help me
check.
verify?
What
So that's
happens?
what I try to do.
What happens? How happens? When happens? Where happens? This is the thing we need to
Yes,
definitely
yes,
look into this. That is it the news or a fake news? Then we can easily
yes.
differentiate the thing. We will got the right thing from the right person from the right time.
Yeah, very true.
Okay, Gloria, can you describe a particularly challenging story you have covered as a news anchor and reporter? And how did you navigate the complexities involved in delivering accurate and balanced coverage to your audience?
Um, Well, I think one of the most challenging reports I've done is one I did recently.
Hmm,
I recently started exploring a bit of investigative journalism.
hmm,
And sometime last year, late
hmm,
last year, I did a report on child mining in
hmm,
Nigeria.
hmm,
And, my case study was a state. And
hmm,
it was quite challenging because aside, the physical stress, because I
hmm,
had to travel, I had to use motorbikes, I had to go, you know, deep inside a rural community here in Nigeria
hmm,
to go and see things for myself. So
hmm,
it was at some point it was quite challenging detaching myself from the experiences and stories of these children I got
hmm,
to interview, because it was I have siblings. I have a younger brother who was like the same age with most of those children
hmm,
I met at those illegal mining sites. But at the end of the day, how I navigated through those challenges was that I
hmm,
was able to just identify that this is wrong. Whether
hmm,
I have a sibling or not, whether I have this isn't what it's supposed to be. So I
hmm,
rely more on data, and that
hmm,
is how I get to detach myself most times or navigate through some of these attachments I might have to a story. Even
hmm,
if I might be emotionally connected to a story, and
hmm,
because of that, I give it more attention. But at the same time, I look at what the facts are saying. I look at what
hmm,
the figures are saying. I look at
hmm,
what the government is saying about an
hmm.
issue. And that is what I use to try to hold them accountable. And I try to bring those issues to the fore. Yeah, that's it.
That's great. Gloria, did you ever face any difficulty while you are covering any event from the government side?
Yes, yes, there are usually difficulties.
What kind of
Most
difficulties have
times,
you faced so far when you are covering a news or covering an event?
sometimes it's not even just the government, even the private sector.
Oh,
But
really?
some of the issues, yes,
Okay.
sometimes when you need information on a particular issue, especially if it's something either controversial or something that is of a lot of interest, it's not always easy at times um, to get that information on the go, because for a lot of government officials, not everybody is authorized to speak about a particular issue. So
Mm,
if, let's say, like when I was carrying out some of those investigative reports, when you bring this evidence or whatever, you would
mm,
have to wait for them to
mm,
go through it, and at their own time they give you responses, and sometimes it could really elongate the time you've set out for your report, because let's say you want to do a report within 2 weeks, and then
mm,
out of that 2 weeks you are taking 1 week or a week and a half to wait for that government official or even that private sector functionary to just give you a response or a comment on a particular issue. It could be quite challenging. So that is the major challenge, getting the information at that moment. Most times you would still get it, but
mm.
then it might not be at that exact
No,
time you
actually,
want
it's
it.
our primarily objective to face the things.
Sorry, I didn't get you.
I'm saying actually this is our primarily objective to face the things, to face the challenges.
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. Did you ever face because you are a female, and did you ever face any harassment issues from anywhere?
Mm, harassment. Well, on the job, not not really, not
Oh,
so
then
much.
you are very lucky.
Not so much.
I must say you're very lucky
Yes,
then. Okay,
yes,
that's great.
because most of the time, like I told you when we started this interview, I said I get to walk in the shoes of different people in different occasions. So
Mm,
there are times on the job where I have felt threatened
mm,
by maybe the environment or the
mm,
people, but I haven't really faced a head-on confrontation while
mm,
on the course of my job. Like when I went to that mining site, when I
mm,
was carrying out a particular report, what
mm,
I did was, even before I went to the main site, because I
mm,
knew most of the people there would be mostly uneducated, they would
mm,
have they would not be really, really civil. So I
mm,
had to first go to meet the people who I
mm,
knew would understand me better.
mm,
People like
mm,
maybe a respected member
mm,
of the community, to tell them this is what I want to do,
mm,
so that when I get to this place, these people wouldn't harass me. They would know that at the
mm,
end of the day, what I'm
mm,
doing is for their good. I
mm,
think a lot of issues of harassment happen when you come and you make people feel like you're the bad
mm,
guy. Most
mm,
people, even when they're doing something illegal, you have to come and make them feel like you're there to help them. So once you're coming um, with that notion, or you're giving them the impression that your coming or your visit or the reasons for your question is for their good, is to make life better for them, you've won them over. But then when
mm,
you're coming and you're trying to, like, I don't really know the right words to put, but if you're coming with um, your intentions are not properly stated,
mm,
sometimes it could get them really, really, it gets them on the defensive
mm,
even before you start asking them questions. But then
mm,
I understand you don't have to come out all the time, because there are times you have to do something
mm,
undercover. But
mm,
even if you're doing something undercover, you
mm,
should always, or personally, I always try to make them understand that
mm,
even when they don't know my true intention,
mm,
I always try to make my respondents understand that why I am there or what I'm trying to do is going to
mm,
be for their overall benefits at the end of the
mm.
day.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. How do you stay informed about current events and emerging news stories? And how does this knowledge influence your reporting approach as both as anchor and reporter?
Well, we have technology, we have social media. So
Yeah.
every morning when I wake up, before I go to work, I just
Uh,
quickly glance through newspapers. I
mm,
don't really read text, like printed text, but I read them online. So, like I told you earlier, I follow a number of news outlets who have,
yeah,
a track record.
this is really a good practice, a good thing in you that you read newspaper every day because most of the journalists they are not doing that. They are not well
Yeah,
informed. They are not well equipped. Not talking about the Nigerian journalists. I'm talking about the Pakistani journalists. They are not aware actually what's going to happening in this country right now, what government officials are going to do today. So they just they just take the mic, they just go to the people and says, "Oh, what's up? What's going on?" This is not a journalistic language. This is not a journalism, I must say.
well, for me, it's not like I go through everything line by line either. But then, whenever I wake up in the morning, I check the top stories from every media house. So, let's say daily, I check, maybe I go through like 3 to 4, and then I check their top stories. So I know these are the issues trending today.
You were
And
telling
then
about
when I get
some applications that you get updated. Can you share what applications do you use for get updated?
on news,
Yeah.
well, here in Nigeria, we have newspapers.
Okay.
So, and they have their online versions. So that's what I
In
do. I go
Nigerian language
online
or English language?
in English language. Our
Okay.
official language here is English
Okay,
language.
your official language is English. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I read up on those top stories, and
Mm,
then when I come to the office, just like I do with the print, on television as well, there are a lot of shows, morning shows, where they dissect issues of national interest. So I join in to some of these conversations, and then I get to hear experts, I get to hear people just analyze these issues, so that I have a broad understanding of these issues. Because one of my biggest fears, actually, as a journalist, is getting or having someone just ask me a question out of the blue. I don't know if that happens to you, but a lot of people, once they know you are a journalist, they just ask you questions. They're like, this is what I heard. This is what the president said yesterday, blah, 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 blah. What can you say about it? And one of the things I learned while I was in school was that as a journalist, you have to know something about everything and
mm,
everything about something. So
mm,
because of that, it's like in my subconscious, I don't want to meet
mm,
somebody who would just ask me a question and I'll be
mm,
dumbfounded. I won't have anything to say. And that is the reason why I always try to do like, I make sure I have like an understanding of, even if not every issue, but at least the trendy issues, top stories
mm,
within the country and even around the world as well.
mm,
That is what I do. And from time to time, I also get to interact with experts. Maybe if I'm also carrying out a special interview on certain issues, I get to meet experts to just help me break down some of these issues so that I have a better understanding about
mm,
them. Because you cannot inform and educate others if you yourself you don't understand these issues.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Gloria, in what ways do you engage with your audience to understand the interest and concerns? And how does this feedback shape the stories you choose to cover and how you present them?
Well, as a young person who
Mm,
is practicing journalism,
mm,
I have a lot of young people as friends. And in this era where we have information, this information age, where we have a lot of people, airing out their views and just putting out the state of their mind online for people to see, I get to engage with people through
mm,
that way. Like for example, when I do my morning routine of going through social media to know the top stories for the day, I
mm,
go through even my feeds on social media and I get to see what people are posting, and it gives me an idea of where the head of people are at a particular point in time. So that is one of the ways. And then another way I also try to engage with my audience is sometimes when we have this um once when there are certain things or certain stories flying, I do vox pops. So time to time I go to the street, I interact with the everyday Nigerian, the average Nigerian on certain issues. This is what is happening, this is what the government intends to do. What do you think? What are you saying? Are
mm,
you just hear from the average person what they feel, what they think about government reforms, or what they think about general issues going on. And then I also engage my contacts on my own social media, on my
mm,
WhatsApp, on my Facebook. Sometimes I
mm,
will just put out like opinion polls, like what do you guys think about this? What do you think about this? And I also do it from I also get story ideas or opinions on stories
mm,
from everyday conversations. I
mm,
interact a lot with the
mm,
average Nigerians. Aside my work that allows me to see different kinds of people, but then every day, my everyday life, I interact with everyday people who lead normal lives. So
mm,
maybe when I'm taking a bus to work, or when I'm going to the market,
mm,
or I see young people having chit chats, or
mm,
my group in church, or these are platforms where I get to see people
mm,
aside my work environment, and I
mm,
get to hear what they think and where their head is at a particular point in time. And those are
mm,
the things that also give me ideas and shape me to carry out certain stories of like,
mm,
people are thinking about this. So let me try and expand it further.
mm.
So those are the stuff I do.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was wonderful having you here and learning from your experiences. Before we wrap up, is there
Thank
anything
you.
you would like to share with our audience or any message you would like to leave them with, Gloria Attah?
Okay. What do I say right now? Well, I would say it's been a really really interesting time here. It's been wonderful. It's been really engaging for me. And what I'll just tell the average, or what I would like to tell the audience is try to right now. I wasn't expecting this question. Anyway, I'll just go over this again. So, thank you so much for having me here. It's been a wonderful time interacting with you. My advice to your listener is that, just try to ensure that before you spread any information, you always try to verify. It's
Yeah,
not that difficult.
this is the
Always try to verify because
most precious advice you have given to us.
yes, yes, because we live in we as journalists, we are often told that the pen is mightier than the sword, which is
Hmm,
actually true because one negative story,
hmm,
one sensational story could do so much.
hmm,
It could start a war. So
hmm,
you don't want the blood of thousands or even millions on your head. So before you think about sharing a story, before you think about putting out an information and a misleading information, think about the lives that it is going to affect. Think about the children, think about the women, think about how that information you want to put out might just change your world forever.
hmm.
That's it.
Gloria, thank you very much once again, and I hope so. We will record another episode for this interview soon.
All right. Thank you so
Okay, all
much
right.
for
Thank you
having
so
me.
much.
Yeah.
Have a nice
Yeah.
day.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Goodbye.
You too. Yeah. Bye.